Hello and welcome to another episode of the After Call.
Right.
I am super excited today because we recorded the last episode all about modern love. Whether finding forever love is possible or impossible, why it's hard to date people as you age. I unfortunately was not able to attend the recording. Joe and Laurel, you led the charge. And we are here today because I am amped up. I have things to say, and we're going to do this topic again.
I would like to break the fourth wall a little bit here and let all of our listeners know that you, in fact, called Laurel and I from your hotel room on a business trip, and you let us know that you vehemently disagreed with most of what we said, and you were bringing it to the
This
pot.
is true. I was very thankful that you 2 were able to do the recording without me. However, I do wanna revisit one important thing that you said towards the end, Joe, and that was what your mom stated was finding the right partner is the most important thing that you can do in your life. And I have to admit, as a channel, podcast, YouTube for women, supporting women, I got stopped in my tracks, could not believe that you were saying that. And I need you to dissect why this is important for everybody and why we can't be all about female empowerment first and foremost.
So you've misinterpreted what I said.
Clearly,
She said the most important decision you'll ever make is who you choose to spend the rest of your life with. Not that you have to find one.
God, okay, no, we're saying the exact same thing. So
No,
I am
we're
saying,
not.
why can't you just be by yourself?
That she's not saying that. So here's the discord. She's not
Okay,
saying that, but what she said to us is if you are going to go down the matrimonial route or the
yeah,
domestic whatever, who you choose to do that with is critical. If you
that makes
choose
sense.
someone that doesn't have the same values, drive, ideology, mores, like you're going to be sacrificing a lot. My mom is very, there was never any pressure. I'm the single one. There was never any pressure to get married. There was never anything like that. My mom is actually probably quite excited the fact that my sister and I are not married, which I don't
Yeah.
no, but she was always saying to us, "If you make that decision, make it critically."
I think that's an important distinction. Not necessarily that if you're going to be with somebody, it needs to be with forever or things won't change, but make that evaluation, critical evaluation when you meet somebody you decide to be with them or
Yeah.
want to be with them, that it is the right choice.
Totally, because I can say firsthand, as someone who had opportunities to marry and didn't take them, or have watched some of my friends, not present company included, get married to the wrong people,
Yeah.
their lives took a complete, like, forever fuckage, like, and you can't undo that. So I think that's not true for everyone, but I've seen some horror stories and less great outcomes and good outcomes, but let's set the record straight. She was not saying, "Go find yourself a partner because that's the most important thing you're ever gonna do." It
Yeah.
was, if you choose to do that, who you choose to do that with is critical.
And I do know that what you guys talked about a lot was how do you know if it's the right person? But I also know, and as you sort of hinted at, Joe, and I know from experience that just because you think it's that person at the right time doesn't mean they're not going to change. They're not going to evolve. Shit's not going to blow up in your face. So, how can we sort of square that with the sage advice that your mom is giving?
I mean, I clearly I mean, the only way that I've taken her advice is to make sure that I've dodged every bullet that came my way, so that's all I've done. Have I put it
Yeah.
into good practice? No, which is what Laurel typically comes into my life to do, but I think is that like I was saying this to you guys recently as someone who's now 43 and their domestic partnership blew up in front of their face. I actually don't know if I need to go find the one or a one
Yeah.
or Mr. I actually don't know if I need to do that.
I think this is why I was getting so triggered by what your mom said. And clearly I misinterpreted it. But is that even something that we should be seeking all the time? Can you find comfort in other
You can
sources?
for
Can you
sure,
find
but I think
comfort
that
in not being monogamous and having different partners or exploring different life
oh
choices?
gosh, Nina, that's
Yeah.
like a totally different totally
Well,
different choice.
that's where
No,
my head
actually,
goes.
Nina's picking up what I'm putting down. I'm not saying, like,
Exactly.
but I'm saying I think the construct can
Yes.
change. Like, I don't think I mean, I find it ironic that I have 2 women that are living in domestic bliss, one that has 2 children and, whatever, and one does like, so I find it ironic coming from you guys, but like, as someone who never had the desire, as I talked about before, to get married, like, I never had that drive. I find it
Mhm.
interesting that I'm trying to put myself in that box now when I'm actually thinking, I'm like, what if I just have people that I like to call and do shit with that I
That's what I'm
also
saying.
think
Yeah.
are very again, I find this very ironic that it's 2 people in, like, lifelong relationships give but, like,
Well, it
I
doesn't mean I haven't had the same conversations with my partner or had the same thoughts.
that's
It just
fair.
has led to different outcomes.
You guys open to swinging? I'm kidding, sorry.
I am not gonna go down deep in this episode today. We can save that for something in the future. But
Um,
like I said, there have been conversations, there have been situations. I'm not gonna divulge all the details right now. But
what?
don't
Okay,
assume
this
that just because someone's in a long-term relationship that they haven't necessarily been open or talked about it.
are you blushing a little bit? This is getting this
Yes.
is not where I thought this was going, but this is getting kinda hot. I kinda wanna know more about
Okay,
this.
well, so Jordan, tell us
Yeah.
how you reached this conclusion because you didn't even bring this up a week ago when there was a recording. And
I did
so what
not.
has happened between last
Been a
recording
bit
and
a
this
big week.
recording? Yeah, it's been a big week where you're coming to a different conclusion, as a mid-40s woman about what you're looking for in terms of a relationship, or I'll say relationship in a loose term. How about that?
Sure. I mean, I think, my opinions are always evolving based on life
Mhm.
experiences, but I don't know. I think I had this pressure of like, okay, now that I'm going to start to date again and do whatever, I have to be very clear on what I'm looking for and does this person check all these boxes or whatever. And then I just had this moment I'm like, or I could just go have some fucking fun
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like date a variety of different people and like figure out like what the back half of life looks like 43 and beyond, and
Mhm.
I don't think there's that much pressure. I also don't think I'm going to be too quick to live with anyone again.
Yeah, that's big. That makes sense.
Like, I don't think, like, you ladies haven't had to go through this, but maybe somebody listening has. There is nothing more earth shattering than like your home no longer being your home and you having to like pack up your shit and leave and not know where
Yeah.
you're going to go. And I'm not in a rush to do that again anytime soon.
Yep, that's fair.
Oh, I think things get a little bit more serious too, right? Like you've purchased all your home items, right? Like you
Yeah.
own your home now. So making these decisions are so much more complex than they're in your 20s when you literally own like a toothbrush and a suitcase and that's it. And then you
Yeah.
can just go to IKEA and get a couch?
Yeah.
Like the concept of a home, I feel like is so much more important to you and it like truly defines who you are the older that you get.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quote one of my friends, Mr. Chico Baptista. Like, I'm also not like my peace is also expensive. My peace, my state
Mhm.
of mind, all of those things. And I think for when we get to a certain stage, whether it's because you're, at a certain level in your career or whatever that is, not that I agree with what Laurel said to me last time. You have to be prepared to make space for someone, and I don't disagree with that. But I'm
Yeah.
also not willing to go 180 for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Laurel, thoughts?
No, I agree. I always say to set the bar really high. Like never I don't think you should lower your expectations to create space for someone. I think if you're single and have been independent for a long time, you do have to remember that someone is not going to be you living in your house, and so you have to figure out, like, how
yeah,
do you create space for that? But it is a weird balance between, like, setting your bar high enough and what am I willing to accommodate
totally.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you know, I ebb and flow between certain people and certain like considerations based on that on an almost weekly basis. So
I
There's
also
that.
think you get different things from different people, just like you do with friendships or work colleagues. Like, why do
Yeah.
we have to put boundaries over romantic or sexual relationships in that sense?
So it's funny that
Like,
you
you're
said that.
spending all this time trying to find this perfect person, and maybe that person does not exist for you at this time, but you can get little pieces from different people.
So it's funny that you say that. And a friend reminded me of this. And I said this a very, very long time ago after my first almost engagement ended. We were sitting at the Bovine Sex Club in Toronto,
Yep,
Ontario. And I was like, I was like, I want someone that can go with me to a metal show or a concert and come party at the Bovine. For the record, I've not partied at the Bovine in over a decade, but this was at the time. But like that kind of like I want that like fun, like let's like, or the like let's go dirt biking, let's go snowboarding, let's go. But then I also need the person that like let's go to the work gala, let's go to the nice dinner, let's go on the nice vacation. And I just don't necessarily know. Oh, and plus I want the gym person. Like,
yeah.
just because I'm a human mullet doesn't mean that there's necessarily another human mullet out there. But like, maybe, like, it's just funny because she was like, you were 28 years old and you said this to me. Why at 42
Exactly.
do you, like, and why did you abandon that? And I was like, so am I just Samantha Jones?
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
Again,
but
this
okay,
episode
hold
is
on.
not
There's like a
dedicated
million things
necessarily
in
to
that.
that. Sorry, go ahead,
I
Laurel.
feel like there's a million things in that. Like, one, A, you can want all those things and either be in a relationship or not be in a relationship. That other person doesn't make or break any of those things because I also snowboard and I also dirt bike and my husband doesn't like it. And
I
I have
still think that you
friends,
were supposed to be my life partner. So
but
what's your
my
problem?
friends, but again, it's like there's things that I like and do that that's why it's a relationship is important,
Yeah.
you said, and then your friendships are important. And that's why when your mom's saying it's a critical decision, it is critical because you end up spending a lot of time with them. They help encourage you and they help like I don't know, make you a better you ideally, but your friends also do that. Your community also does that. And so I don't like if you're going to look for a unicorn like that, yeah, that's impossible because else you're dating yourself, which is also not what you want. Like
I think I'd be great to date.
no, I think you can get those things throughout different avenues, whether it's you choosing it through a partner or with your friendships or you do it independently. Like some people love traveling alone. Great. Then you don't need
I
someone like you
travel
don't have
alone.
to do it with someone. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you said something really interesting, and I think it's something that is really important, and it's like a eye opener for me, and maybe it's an eye opener for someone listening. But I actually don't think I ever was in a relationship with anyone that pushed me to be better.
Yeah. It's yeah, to kind of build off what Laurel said and go full circle to what you just said, Joe. So I was thinking about this topic, and I do think one of the reasons that Brian and I have been together for so long is because we led lives together and we led lives separately. Like even physical separation. So Brian is a music producer. He's a DJ. He had a studio outside of our home. So he spent a lot of time outside the studio. I equally spent a lot, or outside the home. I equally spent a lot of time at the gym, going to dinner with my friends. And our personalities need those outside outlets
Mm.
while also coming together for different things. So going back to what Laurel just said, I do agree that like you can get different things from different people. And like maybe the idea of finding a unicorn or thinking you have to spend 24/7 with a person is not realistic. In my world, also not recommended at all. So I want to tell everybody listening or watching, it's okay to have separate hobbies and separate lives. As long as you have things in common is really what I think you need to be focusing on.
100%, but it's okay if it's not like that. I have again, so Darren and I operate very much like you, Nina, where like we
Yeah.
have separate friends, separate hobbies completely. Like Darren is a fish. I could care less about fishing. I know more about fishing lures than I ever cared to.
Yeah.
And that's great. He does his own thing. He does that. It's great. But then I have other friends that they do every single thing together.
Yeah.
Every party but that
That
works
is
for them. They like so that's
wild to me.
cringy though for us.
So cringe.
But not for them. That works for them. But I think
Yeah.
if you think that that's what a relationship is and you're not that, that would be stifling. I think, Jordan, to your point about like trying to
Got
fit
it.
in a box. And it's like, I don't
Oh,
think
I'd
that's
freak out.
necessarily true. I think there's people that you're like, oh, we kind of like hanging out. Like, do you want to just continue hanging out in
But
perpetuity?
I'm gonna start using that. Like, do you guys do what? Okay, so give me the so what? Give me the like WTF? Like, what's the advice?
Advice on what? Whether you should be with one person or not?
Yeah, like, what do you like, again, I find it ironic that you 2 are in very long-term domestic partnerships, but, like, what's your perspective? Would you if you were doing it all over again, or you were me or, Nina, to some of the conversations that you've shared with us, if you and
Yeah.
Brian had chosen to go separate ways, like, what do you think you would be doing at 43?
I think I'd be thinking the exact same thing that you're doing. Despite, again, being in a long-term relationship, I was never a relationship person, like, in high school, never really dated. Early 20s, never really dated. And what we touched on the last episode was sort of the concept of, like, modern love, dating a powerhouse, and I think that's always what it came to, it just wasn't important for me. I
Yeah.
dated a lot of guys, who liked the idea of being with me because I was like, "Party time, fun Nina," you know? And then when they started talking to me, they'd be like, "Oh, do you wanna get married?" "No." "Do you wanna
Mm.
have biological kids?" "No." And you could just see, like, the look in their
Yeah,
eyes going down, "Which path
yeah,
do I wanna go down?" Because they knew in their
yeah.
hearts they wanted this more sort of, like, conventional lifestyle, but either they had to get it out of their system to, like, date me and have fun, or they thought they liked the aesthetic and the idea of dating somebody like me and then realized that they just couldn't do it.
Mhm.
I'm pretty convinced that if I wasn't with Brian right now, I would be having the exact same thoughts that you, Joe, or I would be doing the exact same thing and just living my best life.
I also think they wanna try to tame us. So, I was
Absolutely.
actually yeah, so I actually got a text message from a guy I used to know back in the day, and he had listened to our last episode. I forgot that he was on my Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, this is funny." He told me straight up, he was like, "Part of why I was so intrigued by you is," he's like, "No one had been able to kinda, like, land you."
Right.
And, like,
Like the wild horse, whatever they're called. You're a
wild
horse
hearts can't
person.
be broken, baby, but,
There you
like,
go.
he was basically like, "I wanted to see if I was the one that was gonna be able to, like, tame you," and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that blew up in your face," but I do think that there is an element of that. Lorella's trying so hard not to laugh out loud right now that she's turning pink. Okay, just say it. Just say
No,
whatever
I'm
you want.
not. I just think that, like, I do think that there are guys like that. I get that. I just think that we shouldn't paint them all like that.
I'm
Like,
not
I
painting
think
them all
Oh,
like
no.
that,
Oh,
yeah.
but
no. No, no.
there are a few specific guys. Like, I even had a guy once, I got hooked up on, like, a well, it was a blind date because I didn't remember the dude, but apparently I had met this guy at a party. We went out on a date to the Queen Mum on Queen West. This is a very long time ago. I think this was probably like 2010. And he started asking me a variety of questions about my hair color, my eye color, my job, my background, whatever. And I was like, bro, like this feels like an interview. Like I was like
Yeah.
our first drinks weren't even finished yet. And he said, no word of a lie. Well, I'm just trying to figure out if you'd be good to breed with.
I
Pardon me,
mean,
sir.
I guess get straight to the point? I don't
Oh.
know. That is
So,
odd.
needless to say, I ducked out the back of the Queen Mum into the alley. I got an angry phone call from my friend the next day.
Yeah.
I explained to him what had happened, but like, there isn't. I'm not saying that's all guys, like, but there is an element of like, can we tame them? And
Yeah.
I do think maybe there are some ladies that are looking for like, I just want the big man to come in. I would like the big man to come in, whatever. But anyway, I think I'm rambling, but I think there's flexibility, especially when you don't want the kids and you don't whatever and you don't want to do all
Yeah.
that. I don't like maybe, yeah, let's just hang out for a long time and have a good time.
Exactly.
Here
I
for it.
don't think there should be any sort of boundaries dating your 20s, dating your 30s, dating in your 40s. I mean, that's probably also why you have like 70, 80-year-old women that are or men that are just like discovering themselves again and having a
Yeah,
good
but
time. And
boundaries
while
are a weird word to me,
STDs are
Nina.
rampant in
Okay,
senior
but
homes, but
that's
keep
like
going, Laurel.
you're
What the
saying one thing
fuck?
or another. No, I think that you need to be communicative about what you want
Yeah.
Sure.
and be aware of that. Like, don't be in a long-term relationship if you don't want to be in a committed relationship, then don't be. Like, all of these people that are cheating on people, forget it. Stop, like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
break
Yeah,
up
I
with
get
the
that.
person if you're not because it's not
Yeah,
fair
I
to the
hate
other
those
person.
terms. Yeah.
So, like, just but I think, Nina, the no
Yeah.
boundaries thing, I don't necessarily agree because I think you can have boundaries. I think that you just need to be truthful with yourself about what
Yeah,
you're looking for so
that
that
makes
when that
sense.
guy is like, "Oh, I can't handle Nina," or "That's not what I want," or "I want kids," then great, step away because that's not what she wants.
It's almost like, we've had conversations about how to stay in relationships and communication being a key factor of that, it almost applies, I think, to every aspect of your
Oh my
life,
god.
right? If you're just dating, if you just want to explore, right? Or if you want to be in a relationship, like you have to communicate, you have to be transparent.
Yeah. The end of my last relationship, he was referencing shit that happened years previously at the beginning of our
Yeah.
relationship. And I will say for sure, I didn't have the right kind of communication approach or
Mm.
boundaries that I should have in those early days, where it either would have been like, okay, you're DQ'd 6 months in versus
Yeah.
how many fucking years down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to run something by you too.
Yeah.
Um, it is a study, and I know we want to make these fun, but I think this will come out well in the end. So, study from March 2026, H&R Block. The idea of a 5-year renewable relationship contract.
What?
So, 23% of
Like your
Canadians said that they
mortgage?
would be open to this.
No.
Honestly, I am for this. I
You're
feel like
I'm not
it's
even
like a
listening. I
mortgage.
checked out. Okay,
No,
sorry.
I swear
Restate
to
it.
God, I am
Restate it.
so into this. So 23% of Canadians are into the concept of a 5-year renewable relationship contract. I feel like on the vein
I'm
of
gonna do this.
communication, on the vein of long-term relationships, you just do it because it's there. You don't spend enough time like revisiting the contract. Why are you in this contract? Why are you in a relationship?
love
I
this.
think it's amazing. I know.
I love this. I would have to get to 5 years again though. That's
Well, sure. You could put a like any time span on it, 1 year, 2 year, whatever. But I think like contract is something you look at, right? Contract you have with people at work, you have with clients, you have with like different people in your lives. Why would you not bring that same concept about renewing, like looking at the terms of something in your relationship?
You've rocked my world.
No.
No, I
Laurel
think this is
disagrees.
fucking great. I think this
No.
is great.
Mm-mm. Because you have an exit door. And look,
Exactly.
no. And I don't think there
You
should be.
just
I think
renegotiate the
no,
terms.
no, I think you should be on a train or off the train, but
But
not
that's the
looking for
contract.
the door.
It
No.
allows you, for those people that maybe aren't communicating it about it
But what
allows
does
you
that
that
mean
opportunity to
allow? Then
be
don't get
like, "I'm not
married.
in."
Yeah, but Nina, you're in a relationship, you're not married. So like you can walk like again, I don't like what's the difference between being in a long-term relationship versus a 5-year renewable contract versus a marriage? Like to me, a marriage is like I'm in it, I'm in it. I am in
Yeah.
it and I am in it. And
Hmm.
I don't want there to be an exit. But I feel like if I didn't want to be in a long-term monogamous relationship, I would not get married.
See, and that's an interesting thing because I even remember one of my exes and I having the conversation where I was like, I don't want to get married. And he was like, why not? And I was like, because I want someone to choose me every day. I don't want you to be here because it's a pain in the ass or it's expensive to get divorced. Like, I want to wake up every day and choose each other. God, I was so much wiser when I was younger. What the fuck?
That's an interesting twist, Laurel. How do you feel about that angle?
Yeah, I choose to be married every day. It's work.
But because you don't believe in divorce. So it's actually like
Yeah.
you can't leave if you wanted to.
I know,
Darren is dope,
but do you
but
know what
like
that does? It makes you work on things. It makes you work on things. And again, the hugest caveat on all of this, if you're in a like shitty relationship, an abusive relationship, like we're not doing that. I just think having a view of an exit is it's not a healthy thing because there's always going to be something new and exciting. Always. Always. There are so many studies, Nina. Do some Googling about people that considered getting divorced. And after 5 years, the people that stayed together are happier than they have ever been.
Yeah, so 5-year renewable contract. Making my
No,
point
that's
right there,
because they
Laurel.
stuck it out.
I do think my ex and his ex-wife should get back together.
Did you talk to him about that?
Yeah, I did
And what
actually
did he
while we
say?
were together.
What did he say?
He was like, fuck no.
But Nina, what's the difference? Again, I don't understand the like, if you like, I guess I'm speaking about it from a marriage perspective where
Yeah.
I think marriage is like, yeah, something that you commit to for life, barring some pretty egregious obstacles, right? But I think if you were kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure if I want that, then isn't that just a long-term relationship? Like you have an out.
Yeah, but I think maybe you just have a narrow view of not getting married.
Okay, tell
That's the
me.
thing. Like, I don't feel like I have to. It's for me, it's just a piece of paper of something that I want nothing to do with. For
I
you,
know,
it's meaningful, and that's why it's not meaningful for me.
but that's why do you need a renewable thing? That's what I don't get. Because like,
I
technically,
For
you
me,
can
it's
just
less about the renewable part, it's more about the
Baffling.
idea of the terms and talking about it, right? And not everybody is going to be as open and communicative as you are, Laurel, and I feel like the whole discussion we've had today is who you are 20 years ago may not be who you are now. And so if you look at your life in smaller chunks, it may be actually easier for some people to, like, manage through, either get in or get out or stay the same versus looking at things as like one option only and it's a long-term option and that's it. But I also
So I'm
come from
gonna
like a long line of people that have been divorced. And so my view of marriage is very much shaped on how I grew up and seeing my parents get in multiple marriages. And sometimes those worked and sometimes those didn't. But the idea of being able to find love at any given point, too, is probably just, my outside in perspective.
I'm gonna ask a loaded question, Laurel.
Yeah.
And this is from a place of love and genuine curiosity.
great. I'm glad
As a
if a caveat like that is
as
likely
a
not, but
child that
anyways.
was kicked out of every Sunday school that she ever attended, if you didn't have the religious beliefs that you have, do you think you'd have the same opinion?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't get married. I think I would be in a long-term relationship that's not marriage because from my perspective, the term marriage in its like most historical definition is largely biblical. Okay. And so like the commitments and covenant that I'm committing to have biblical roots in it. And so I actually don't know. I do know why society does that. I think that we forget that Canada and most Western cultures are like grounded. A lot of the principles are taking morals and ethics from Christianity, right? Like you want to talk about human rights, like where does that actually come from? And
I
so I'm not
mean,
going to get into all of that, right? But like, yeah, that
women
is
used to get traded for cattle, but yeah, okay. Speaking of human rights, but
I think if you actually care about people, like you have to, anyways, we can have that conversation another
I
day. But I would say the marriage, like the term marriage, I think there's a lot of commitments from the Bible. And so I think if you're not committing to a relationship like that, then I wouldn't get married. I would be in a long-term relationship. And then at which point I don't know why you need a 5-year renewal because you're just always every day choosing to be in it. Else I'm not in it.
so I think it's interesting that Nina and I, as the 2 heathens,
Yeah.
don't have aspirations to ever have a wedding license.
Yeah.
However, we have the aspiration to have somebody that we like hanging around with and doing things with. So I don't know, I think that
But
is
does Nina, because Nina, like I guess maybe that's a different question though too, because I don't know if it's like you're just doing your life and like, hey, yeah, you met this person. It's great to do life with them. And I feel like, Nina, that's more of what you kind of have been in, where you weren't necessarily like, hey, I want a partner in my life, but it's like you met this guy and we're like, oh, we actually kind of like hanging out and doing other stuff together. And this works for us versus like seeking out to make my life better because I want a person.
No, I think it's kind of one and the same because I wouldn't be with somebody that wouldn't, you know, give me the license to be with myself or make me a better person. I think it's just how I happen
better
to get
person to
into a
what?
relationship. That's it. But
A better
again, Laurel, I think we just interestingly differ on views of relationships and marriage,
You
which,
both said the better person thing. You both
yeah,
said the better person thing, and
that's
it's
honestly
something
what
that
it
I'm
comes down to.
realizing that I've
Yeah,
missed every time.
yeah.
So, question to everyone. Anyone listening, does your person make you a better person? If the answer to that is yes, then maybe you don't need the 5-year renewable mortgage, whatever. You can like stick it out, work it through. And I feel no closer to a resolution other than I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and see what happens and see what unfolds.
Well, I think on that note, Jordan, in 1 week time period, you went from considering whether you wanted to find another person and dating life being hard to maybe dating other people. So maybe we'll see what the next episode holds when we talk about relationships and modern love again.
I show up married.
Yeah, exactly. Vegas wedding.
Woohoo! Thank you, Elvis.
Amazing.
I don't know if
And
I'd be that surprised, actually.
I want to be in there. I'll be your witness.
I'd be mad I wasn't there, but yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, you would definitely be getting a FaceTime call.
Yes, perfect.
Perfect.
I think
Well
he'd at least need to get grilled before I
uh
decided to walk into the Vegas
Done.
chapel. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope. Otherwise, it's a Britney moment. We know how that ends.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening and watching. Please like this episode, subscribe to the After Call. Let us know your views on marriage and relationships and renewable contracts. We'll
Because
talk to you
clearly
next
we're
time.
no further along.
Thanks for being part of the After Call. If this felt familiar, you're not alone. Hit subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this episode with a friend. See you next time for more real talk about the beautiful, messy chaos of life.